Alright, right now I'm working on an analysis. So, actually, let me start with UJ, since I've already somewhat started it, just to get that out the way. Right now, it looks like a major drop at this point. Like, it's just going to continue on, and nothing's really going to stop it at this point. What I would like for it to do is actually retrace at some point. But that's the weekly time frame, so I'd rather not wait that long. So, what I can do, wait for it to either come back here, or whenever the heck it comes to that point, that would be nice. But it's dropped so hard that it's not just going to be at a straight point all the time anyways. Maybe it can like make some sort of flag and just come back this way, but we will see. I mean, it has already kind of bounced at its average daily range, so we will at this point just kind of wait it out just to see what kind of pattern we can actually find over time. But even down to the 5 minute, it's just kind of choppy. So at this point, it's just waiting it out for that. And the same can be said about gold. Gold, there's no clear direction that it's coming back yet, or if it's continuing. If you never entered at that point or buy, then you might as well just wait. EU, if you haven't entered yet at all, I would just wait it out. It's the safest bet. Wait for a different opportunity, because you don't want to just pray that it comes back and then just lose some money just off of hope. So let's go to the lower time frame. It's looking like pretty much the way I see it is just trending off of this line, and pretty well. CAD JPY. I really don't trade this one too often, but I should have watched it more thoroughly, because yeah, it was too perfect. It was way too perfect how it just bounced off of that and just kept going. But it did it last week. This is a new week, so that's where that candle's coming in. But I really wouldn't have expected it to just tank the way it did either, personally. But this is where you want to actually try to check your charts more often over the weekend before the markets open, just so you kind of have an idea of what happened, even if you don't consistently look at other patterns. Like, I have my select few. I like to focus more on between 2 to 6 patterns every week. CAD JPY just isn't one of them for me, so sometimes I do miss opportunities. But if I had just did a full markup on different things, I probably would have caught it. But at the same time, this could be a decent spot for it to start retracing, just because of how hard the zones do hit. And whoops. Looking at that, yeah, there is potential, somewhat. Time will tell. But I'm not going to enter yet just because it's so close to 12. But with it being so close to 12, a lot of the times, from what I've noticed personally, it does come back up sometimes, retrace until the London session actually starts, or just plays around. So for what could happen is it comes down to this area and bounces right back up until it finally comes down here. And considering this is looking more like a descending triangle, it could just keep dropping. Actually, there's more of a slant, so there is potential that it could just rise. We will see over time. That crashed hard, but this is one of those things that I really don't pay attention to, personally. Let's see. I'll pass on the other one because I really don't see any real opportunities. This is the spot where it can potentially fall a little bit harder and retrace because it does correlate with USD CAD. It tends to follow UJ more and go the opposite way of gold and Euro USD. USD CAD tends to go the way of gold. So right now, looking at the trend, if I wanted to retrace, maybe about here. Yeah. And it could make a triangle and just drop further. That's probably the best pattern I've actually seen on here. So, and there is space. So, the best move is to wait for the retrace and go for the drop. And looking at that, to confirm it, USD CAD, it's looking more like a buy move so far. Overall, it's looking more sell long term, especially with that candle there. So maybe a short retrace and then drop. Kind of shows how consistent the other one is, because the other move was pretty close too. So bounce to this area, make more like, let's see about more of a head and shoulders type pattern. Oh yeah, there it is. US CAD is looking pretty wonderful. So it was an inverted head and shoulders at first, and now it could be forming this next pattern and getting ready to turn around. And that's determined by if it were to break this as well. So it hit its daily range, bam, bam. It could go up once more and build that shoulder and drop. From my perspective, that's just what I see. And with it being an inverted head and shoulders, it was also a wedge. So that just verifies things more on my end from what I see, which kind of makes things a bit easier. So the best trades that I would watch for is AUD USD and US CAD at the moment. Oil looks fairly decent. I feel like it's just more set up to drop. So oil, I would personally wait for a retrace to happen if it does that, or a break of a pattern. Drop. overall, in the long-term scale, this is the daily chart. Oh, wait. Yeah. On the daily scale. Okay, drop to this level. If it broke this level down here and then rise, but who knows, it could just bounce here and just start rising. We just have to wait for the next pattern after it actually made that move. So that's pretty much what we're waiting for on that end. And the triangle is set. On this end, okay, now that we cleaned that up, so on this end, on the monthly, it could drop or break. If it follows this pattern, this could be where it creates that pattern, a bigger pattern. It made a weird inverted head and shoulders already. So I would look for a reason to sell. Not to say that the sale will happen immediately, but with it nearing that pattern, it could potentially wedge off here and just fall. And GU, I don't like GU. So, looking at GU, it started out as a head and shoulders pattern. On a smaller time frame, you can see it made an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And right here, it looks a little bit strange, but it's also a head and shoulders pattern, a little bit more condensed. And wedge. Okay, maybe to perfect it a little bit more, but wedge. Came up here, it broke through, tried to come back up, found support, well, resistance, and blah, bounce. Just tank. And we can go to the lower time frames to kind of look at it, and that's where you actually see more of it. Can try to even it out a little bit. It's probably the best we'll actually get of it. It's not always so perfect, but it was also a descending triangle, so it also confirmed it once again, pushed it downwards, and it looked like it was going to try to wedge off somewhat, but it broke outside and then just kind of changed and just fell apart. There was no real, well, it looked like it was, yeah, it looked like it was going to wedge even still, but it just tanked. Really no telling what really happened, but patterns don't always stay consistent. Then we can look at USD Mexican. It's been independent forever. So, and there was a gap here, I believe. Yeah, right here. It filled the gap, and it's probably going to break that and maybe retrace at some point and just keep moving. So, but yeah, that's the end of this video. This is basically showing how I actually view things at this point on, as far as naked trading. Just looking more for patterns. I'm following structure and bounces and everything else.